Hello to everyone. Here I am going to solve the NEET 2019 physics question paper. Question paper code is S2. Total number of questions from the physics part is 45. Questions start from the 91 to up to 135. First 5 seconds you will see the question. Later you will see the solution for that question. This video has the solution for the question number 91 to 100. For remaining questions you go for the video. Part 2 video, part 3 video, part 4. For more update you please subscribe my channel. Thank you. In the question paper code S2, the first question is question number 91. Did you read the question? Yes, I hope all of you read the question. In this question, a particle is executing the simple harmonic motion SHM. We have to calculate the angular velocity after complete one vibration. What we have to calculate? Angular velocity. When we have to calculate? After complete one vibration. Is that here consider a particle is present at the mean position. Initially the particle is present at the mean position. It is vibrating upwards and downwards. That is, it is vibrating upwards, that is extreme position. Again downwards, that is downward extreme position. Now when you can say that the particle has completed one vibration, if it is initially at the mean position, if it is vibrating upwards and reaching the extreme position, again reaching the downward extreme position, after reaching the downward extreme position, if it returns to the mean position only, now I can say that the particle has completed one vibration. Means that from the mean position to upward extreme position, again downward extreme position, again mean position, one vibration is over. Mean position to extreme position, again downward extreme position, again mean position. Now the particle has completed one vibration. This is one vibration. In this one vibration, what about the angular velocity? Angular velocity is equals to, angular velocity is given by displacement divided by time. Displacement divided by time. If you want to calculate the angular velocity, we have to take the value of the displacement. Now here one vibration means initially the particle is present at the mean position. Initially the particle is present at the mean position. After one vibration, the particle will reach the mean position only. Means that final position also mean position. Initial position, final position both are same. When the initial position, final position both are same, the displacement is equals to what? 0. When the initial position, final position both are same, displacement is equals to 0. Here displacement is equals to 0. Displacement is equals to 0. That is 0 divided by time. That is equals to 0 only. Your answer is 0. Next question is question number 92. The data from the given question is that they have given the two lenses which are convex. The focal length of the first lens is f. Focal length of the second lens is small f. Again, lens 1, lens 2. They have given the two equiconvex lenses, means that which are having the same focal length. Focal length of this combination is given by f1. Now the space between the two lenses is filled with the liquid, that is nothing but a glycerin, which is having refractive index that is equals to refractive index of the glass. In the question they have mentioned refractive index of the glycerin is equals to refractive index of the glass. Here whatever the liquid is there, if you observe this one, the space between the two liquid, the space between the two lenses is filled with the glycerin. There is nothing but a liquid. Now this glycerin, if you observe the shape of this one, this behaves like a convex lens or concave lens. Yes, there is nothing but that behaves like a concave lens. Means that here it is not converging lens, it is a diverging lens. Initially they have given the two convex lenses, their focal length of combination is given by f1. Now in between the two lenses, they have placed glycerin, which behaves like a diverging lens. If it behaves like a diverging lens, we can take the focal length of this one is minus f. Now, what you have to calculate? A ratio of f1 and f2. f1 is what? Focal length of this combination. f2 is what? Focal length of this combination. Here f1 and f2 both are same, no different. Why? Because here two lenses are there, both are convex. Here in the f2, in this combination, we have the two convex lenses. Along with that one, in between the two convex lenses, they have placed the glycerin that behaves like a diverging lens. Its focal length will be minus f. Now, if you want to calculate the ratio of f1 and f2, we have to calculate the f1 as well as f2. f1 is nothing but focal length of the combination. Focal length of the combination of lenses. What is the formula for that one? 1 by f is equals to 1 by f1 plus 1 by f2. Here f1 is the focal length of the first lens. What is the focal length of the first lens? F only. What is the focal length of the second lens? F only. This is nothing but the focal length of the combination. Focal length of the combination is indicated by what? F1. Now 1 by f1 is equals to 1 by f plus 1 by f. You can make 1 by f1 is equals to 2 by f. That is nothing but f1 is equals to f1 is equals to what? 1 by f1 is equals to 2 by f. f1 is equals to f divided by 2. We got the f1. Next, what we have to calculate? f2. Again, here also combination of lenses only. 1 by f2 is equals to 1 by f. Here plus or minus the second, consider this one as the second lens. Again 1 by f. Again focal length of the glycerin. There is nothing but minus 1 by f. Here 1 by f cancels. That is 1 by f. 1 by f2. From this one f2 is equals to what? f2 is equals to f. What we have to find out? f1 divided by f2. f1 divided by f2 is equals to, what is the f1 here? f1 is equals to f divided by 2 whole divided by f2 is equals to what? f gets cancelled. That is nothing but 1 by 2. From this one f1 is to f2 is equals to 1 is to 2. This is the right option. They have given the two convex lenses which are placed coaxially with each other. Focal length of the first lens is f. Focal length of the second lens is f. Focal length of the combination is given by f1. Now the space between the two lenses is filled with the glycerin. Now focal length of this combination is f2. Focal length of the combination is given by 1 by f1 is equals to 1 by f plus 1 by f. f1 is equals to f by 2. In the same way, we have to calculate the f2. f2 is equals to, we got small f. f1 by f2 is equals to, we got 1 by 2. That is nothing but f1 is to f2 is equals to 1 is to 2. Now the question number is 93. In the question, a particle is moving with the velocity v and the particle is acted by the three forces are as shown by the vector triangle PQR. What we have to calculate? Velocity is equals to question mark. Velocity is equals to question mark. If you observe the three forces of PQR, you will come to know that one. All the three forces are acting in the same order. P is in this direction, Q is in this direction, R is in this direction. Means that P, Q, R are acting in the same order. They are forming a loop. Three forces are acting in the same order. And forming a loop. When the forces are acting in the same order and form a loop, then the net force is equals to net force is equals to 0. Net force acting on the particle is equals to 0. When the net force is equals to 0, force is equals to what? Mass into acceleration is equals to 0. Acceleration can be written as, that is, acceleration is equals to 0 by m. A is equals to 0. A is nothing but acceleration, that can be written as rate of change of velocity, dv by dt. dv by dt is equals to 0. When the dv by dt is equals to 0, v is nothing but constant. Listen. Three forces are acting on the particle in the same order and they are forming a loop. When the forces are acting in the same order and they are forming a loop, net force acting on the particle is 0. Then force is given by mass into acceleration, that is equals to 0. Then A will be equals to 0. Acceleration is nothing but a rate of change of velocity. dv by dt is equals to 0. Then if dv by dt is equals to 0, v is a constant. Now the next question number is 94. Did you read the question? Yes. In the question, they have given that ionized hydrogen atom and alpha particle are having the same momentum. Means that momentum of the hydrogen atom is equals to momentum of the alpha particle. Momentum is nothing but a product of mass and velocity. And ionized hydrogen atom. Hydrogen atom has one proton and one electron. When you are going to take ionized hydrogen atom means one electron is removed from that one, only remaining charged particle is only one proton. So the charge on the ionized hydrogen atom is 1e, that is the magnitude of the charge on the proton. Then alpha particle is nothing but a helium plus 2 nucleus, which has 2 protons as well as 2 neutrons. There are no electrons in that one. Means that if it has the 2 protons and 2 neutrons doesn't carry any charge, so that here 2 protons is equals to 2 times of the magnitude of the charge on the proton. 2e, here QH is equals to 1e. And the ionized hydrogen atom and alpha particles enters perpendicular to the magnetic field. Perpendicular to the magnetic field means what is the angle between the velocity and the magnetic field? That is theta is equals to 90 degree. What we have to calculate? That is nothing but the ratio of radius of the ionized hydrogen atom to the radius of the alpha particle. If you want to calculate the radius in this case, the expression for that one is nothing but r is equals to mv sin theta divided by qb. What is m? Mass. What is v? Velocity. What is q? Charge. What is b? Magnetic field. Theta is angle. Here mass and velocity can be written as the momentum. Mass and velocity can be written as the momentum. And here theta is equals to what? 90 degree. Sin 90 degree value is what? 1. So that is a p into 1 is equals to what? P. That is a q divided by p. Here radius is equals to, we got a p divided by qb. Here p in the two cases is a constant or variable? Constant. And b in the two cases, yes, ionized hydrogen atom and the alpha particles enters to a constant magnetic field. So the b is also constant. Whether the qb is the same in the two cases or different. Here 1e is there, here 2e is there. Means that here only one variable quantity is there, that is q. R can be written as inversely proportional to the q. P is constant in the two cases. B is also constant in the two cases. So R is inversely proportional to the q. What have to calculate? Ratio of RH and R alpha. RH can be written as 1 divided by QH. Similarly, R alpha can be written as 1 divided by Q alpha. RH divided by R alpha. 1 divided by QH whole divided by 1 divided by Q alpha. QH, charge on the ionized hydrogen atom, that is nothing but that is nothing but 1 by E, and here that is nothing but 1 divided by 2E. You can make this one as the 1 by E into 2E divided by 1. E gets cancelled. The remaining answer is 2 by 1 RH divided by R alpha is equals to 2 by 1. That is nothing but 2:1. Your option is 2:1. The next question is that 95. In this question, body A is traveling with the velocity u. You make that one as a u1. And body A is going to collide with the body B, which is at rest state. A is in motion state and B is at rest state. So that when the body B is at rest state, you can take the velocity of the body is equals to 0. So that we have taken u2 is equals to 0. u1 is the velocity of the body A, u2 is the velocity of the body B. After the collision, velocity of the body A is given by v1, of the body B is given by v2. Before the collision and after the collision. Before the collision, body B is at rest state. When the body A collides with the body B, there will be change in velocity of the body A as well as the body B. So that when there is a change in velocity, there will be change in energy. Now we have to calculate fraction of energy lost by the body A only. Which body is going to lose the energy and which body is going to gain the energy? The body A is going to lose the energy. Body B is going to gain the energy. Now, fraction of energy lost. Energy loss means directly you can take the final energy minus initial energy. Fraction means what we have to take. Fraction of energy lost is nothing but change in energy, or else energy loss divided by original energy. Energy lost by body A. That energy is gained by which body? Energy gained by the body B. So that you can make energy gained by the body B. So that here finally you can make that is nothing but a delta E divided by original energy. Now delta E energy loss is nothing but energy gained by the body B. So that is nothing but a delta E B A. Why have taken the here energy lost by body A is there? Why have taken the energy gained by the body B? Energy loss is equals to energy gain according to the law of conservation of energy. Energy gain, that is nothing but final energy. Which energy we have to consider here? That is nothing but a kinetic energy only. Final kinetic energy minus initial kinetic energy of body B divided by kinetic energy of the body A. Now, final kinetic energy minus initial kinetic energy of which body? Of body B. That is the kinetic energy of body A. Now, final kinetic energy of the body. That is nothing but kinetic energy is given by half mv square. What is the mass of the body B? 2m. What is the final velocity? That is v2 minus initial kinetic energy, that is again half mv square. Which body we have taken? Body B. What is the mass of the body B? That is nothing but 2m only. Initial kinetic energy or final kinetic energy? Initial kinetic energy. We have to take initial velocity or final velocity? Initial velocity. Initial velocity is what? u2. u2 is what here? 0. Divided by kinetic energy of the body A. What is the kinetic energy of the body A? That is nothing but original kinetic energy. Original kinetic energy is before the collision. So that you make that one as the. What is the mass of the body A? 4m. What is the initial velocity? u1. from this one here 0 square 0 0 into 2m 0 0 into 1 by 2 0. Now entire this term will be 0. Now the remaining term 2 gets cancelled. What is the remaining thing here? This is v2 square. Okay. Now here also of m into u square, that is kinetic energy is given by of m v square. Now m into v2 square minus 0 divided by, you can cancel this one, 2 1 ja 2 2 ja. It is the remaining thing 2m u1 square. That is what? Delta E by E. But here we got delta E by E. Delta E by E is equals to mv2 square divided by 2m u1 square. Now we have to, if you observe the option, it is not the correct one. Why? Because they have given in terms of the other thing. So that now we have to convert the v in terms of the u. How to convert that one? We have to calculate the v2. v2 is nothing but the final velocity of the body b. After the collision, if you want to find out the velocity of the body, we know the formula. Velocity is equals to what? Velocity of the second body is equals to 2m1 u1 plus u2 into m2 minus m1 divided by m1 plus m2. Here u2 is equals to what? 0. u2 is equals to what? 0. 0 into m2 minus m1, 0. Now 2m1, m1 is the mass of the first body. What is the mass of the first body? Mass of the first body is, that is nothing but a, that is nothing but a 4m into velocity of the first body, that is u1 only, plus 0. 0 into m2 minus m1, 0. m1, mass of the first body, 4m. Mass of the second body, that is 2m. That is 2 4s are 8 m u1 divided by 4m plus 2m, 6m. Here mm gets cancelled, so that v2 is equals to we got 8 u1 by 6, that is nothing but you can make, that is a 4 by 3 u1. Now we got the 4 by 3 u1. v2 is equals to what we got? 4 by 3 u1. Where we have to substitute? In the equation of this one. Now we have to substitute v2 is equals to 4 by 3 u1 in the equation number 1. Now listen, fraction of energy lost is equals to energy lost divided by original energy. Which body loses the energy? A. Which body gains the energy? B. So the energy lost by A is equals to energy gained by the body. That energy loss or energy gain is nothing but a final energy minus initial energy. Which energy? Kinetic energy. Final kinetic energy minus initial kinetic energy of the body B divided by original kinetic energy. Kinetic energy is equals to what? Of mv square. V is velocity, mass is m is nothing but a mass. Substitute in place of mass, substitute in place of velocity. We got delta E by E is equals to this equation. Later, here we have to calculate the V2. V2 is given by 2m1 u1 plus u2 into again m1 divided m1 plus m2. u2 is equals to 0. Why? Because body B is at rest state. After substituting that one, V2 is equals to, we got 4 by 3 u1. Now we have to substitute that V2 in place of what? That is delta E by E. Now delta E by E is equals to what? M V2 square. What is V2? 4 by 3 U1 square divided by 2 M into U1 square as it is. Now M gets cancelled. 4 square, what is that one? 16 by 9 U1 square whole divided by 2 into U1 square. What gets cancelled? U1 square. Again here 2 1s are 2 8s. What is the remaining thing? That is nothing but 8 by 9. Now delta E by E is equals to 8 by 9. This is the right option. Now the next question number is 96. In this given question, the river is flowing with a velocity of 10 meter per second towards to the east. The person is standing at the south bank of the river and he has to reach the north bank of the river by covering a shortest distance. The speed of the swimmer in the still water is given by 20 meter per second. In this question, what we have to find? In this question, we have to find out the with what angle he has to jump in the water with respect to the north pole. Why have taken the towards to the west only? Why it is not towards to the east? Observe this one. The water is flowing with certain velocity towards to the east. If the person jumps towards to the east, the person jumps towards to the east means that the river is flowing towards to the east. The water takes the person along with the water. Means that here the person is moving towards to the east, the water is also moving towards to the east. The person cannot cover the least distance, the person may be cover the maximum distance. But in this question, the person has to travel the shortest path. Shortest path means if he jump towards to the west, the water takes the person so that he can reach the north bank of the river with a shortest distance. So that he has to jump towards to the west only. Then what must be the angle? Here velocity of the river they have given, velocity of the swimmer also they have given. Now we can take that is opposite side hypotenuse. The trigonometric function which is involving these two is given by sine theta. That is opposite side divided by hypotenuse. Opposite side is what here? VR. Hypotenuse is what here? VS. VR is velocity of the river is 10, velocity of the swimmer is 20 meter per second. That is nothing but 1 by 2. Sine theta is equals to 1 by 2. Then theta is equals to sine inverse of 1 by 2. And what is the value? 30 degree. Theta is equals to 30 degree due to west. So that is our option. Choose the right option. Now the next question number 97. In this question we have to calculate the I1, I2 and also P1, V2 in the two cases. Later we have to compare the relation between I1 and I2 and the relation between V1 and V2. In this case the battery EMF is 10 volt which is supplied to the 10 volts which is supplied to the 10 ohm resistor. Now we have to calculate the I1. I1 is equals to what? I is equals to the general formula. I is equals to V by R. What is the potential difference across this one? That is nothing but a 10 volts. Resistance is what? 10 ohm. That is the answer. That is 1. I1 is equals to 1 ampere. Next here we have to calculate the I2. I2 is equals to again V by R. Here V is 10 volt only. R is what? Here 10 ohm is connected with the voltmeter in series. We should remember in the two cases, whatever the voltmeter or ammeter they have given, they are ideal. Ideal voltmeter means which has the infinite resistance. Ideal ammeter means which has the zero resistance. Here, if it is ideal voltmeter, means that in this case, in the two cases, we have to consider the voltmeter as the ideal as well as ammeter as the ideal. If voltmeter is ideal means its resistance is infinite. Infinite plus a certain 10 value. Infinite plus 10. Is there any variation? No. There is no variation at all. Again, it will be infinite only. So that there will be no variation with this one. Again, we will take the 10 ohm only. 10 by 10. That is 1. I2 is equals to again 1 ampere. I1 is equals to 1 ampere. I2 is also equals to 1 ampere. We can make I1 is equals to I2. Here I1 is equals to I2. Again, what about V here? We have taken the 10 volt. What we have taken here? 10 volt. Then V1 is also equals to V1 is also equals to V2. V1 is also equals to V2. Now the next question number is 98. In this question, they have given a coil which is having certain number of turns that is equals to 800, which is placed initially perpendicular to the magnetic field. The coil is placed perpendicular to the magnetic field, means that here magnetic field direction is upwards. If you take the example, again area vector is also upwards. The angle between them is equals to 0 degree here. That is initial magnetic flux is equals to that is you can make NBA cos theta. Next, whatever the coil is there, that is rotated by 90 degree. Now in this case, the magnetic field is the same only, but whatever the area of the coil is there, that is changed. The magnetic flux is equals to that is NBA cos theta. Here, if you observe this one, magnetic field area, both are area vector, both are in same direction. So here theta is equals to 0 degree. That will be equals to NBA. But whereas here the magnetic field is upwards, but area vector is away from the board or towards the board. So that here theta is equals to 90 degree. Cos 90 degree is 0. 0 into this value is equals to 0 only. Means that here there is a certain change in magnetic flux. That change in magnetic flux leads to what? Induced EMF. Now we have to calculate the EMF which is produced in the coil. EMF is equals to, you know the formula, minus del phi divided by delta T. Del phi divided by delta T. Here, change in magnetic flux divided by during the time interval. In what time interval? The plane of the coil is rotated by 90 degree. In the 0.1 second, the coil is rotated by 90 degree. Now we can make that is nothing but pi f minus pi I divided by delta T. Pi f is what? Already 0, minus pi I is what? NBA divided by delta T. Now from this one E is equals to 0 into minus, again that is nothing but NBA divided by delta T. N is equals to what? 800. Magnetic field is what? They have given magnetic field is 5 into 10 to the power minus 5, and area of the cross section of the material is 0.05 divided by in what time interval the coil is rotated? 0.1 second. Your answer is, that is nothing but 4000, that is 4000 to 0.02 volt. This is your EMF. Okay. Now the next question number is 99. In this one, they have given the angle of dip at two places. At A, delta is 25 degree. At B, delta is minus 25 degree. Now we have to check that one, where the A is located and where the B is located. The angle of dip is positive here, the angle of dip is negative here. Before that one, we should know the definition of angle of dip. Angle of dip is nothing but it is the angle between the resultant magnetic field of the earth and the horizontal component of the magnetic field of the earth. What is the angle between? It is the angle between resultant Earth's magnetic field from the horizontal component. That is nothing but angle of dip. Now, here I have mentioned that is nothing but Earth only. Here, geographic North Pole is there, geographic South Pole, magnetic North Pole, magnetic South Pole. Here you can consider this one as the northern hemisphere. What is that one? Northern hemisphere. You can consider this one as the southern hemisphere. What is this one? Southern hemisphere. Now I have taken a compass needle and that is placed at a point in the northern hemisphere. When a compass needle, that is here North Pole is there, here South Pole is there. When a compass needle that is marked with the blue color line, here the compass needle is placed in the northern hemisphere. When it is placed in the northern hemisphere, whatever the compass needle is there, that tends to align with the magnetic field lines which are present due to the magnetic field of the Earth. Due to that one, whatever the magnetic needle is there, that tends to move downwards. The north pole of the magnetic needle will move downwards, will point downwards. The north pole of the magnetic needle will point downwards in the northern hemisphere. This is considered as the delta is positive. Here, the north pole of the magnetic needle will point downwards, whereas in the southern hemisphere, if you place the magnetic compass needle in the southern hemisphere, whatever the north pole of the magnetic needle is there, it will point upwards. North pole is pointing upwards. That dip is considered as a negative. Means that if the north pole of the compass needle points downwards, then we will say this one, the dip is positive. If the north pole of the compass needle points upwards, here it is pointing upwards, then we will say that one dip is negative. Means that if they have given certain value which is a positive, then we can say this one, this point A is located in the northern hemisphere. At a point B, the delta is negative, then we can say this one, whatever the angle of dip is negative, that is only possible in the southern hemisphere. Means that angle of dip is positive in the northern hemisphere, angle of dip is negative in the southern hemisphere. Now the question number is 100. In this question they have given an electron is accelerated through a potential difference of 10,000 volt. Then we have to calculate the de Broglie wavelength, and they have given a mass of the electron is 9.1 into 10 to the power minus 31 kg. What we have to calculate? De Broglie wavelength. De Broglie wavelength, lambda is equals to, you know the formula, lambda is equals to h divided by 2mqv. That is, h is what? Planck's constant. M is what? Mass of the electron. Q is what? Charge on the electron. Here mass, charge, h, all these are constant, and if you substitute all those values, you know the Planck's constant value, 6.64 into 10 to the power minus 34. Again charge on the electron, 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19. If you do the simplification, that is directly we can make 12.27 divided by square root of v into what? That is nothing but 10 to the power minus 10 meter. It is a direct formula we can take. Now here in place of v, what you have to substitute? Potential difference. What is the value of that one? Nearly 10,000 volt. 12.27 divided by nearly 10,000 divided by 10,000 into what? 10 to the power minus 10. Now you can make 12.27 into 10 to the power minus 10 divided by 10 to the power 4. 10 to the power 4 means here square it is nothing but 1 by 2. You can make this one as 12.27, that is nothing but 10 to the power 2 into 10 to the power minus 10. If you take this one to the numerator, it will be 10 to the power minus 2, 10 to the power minus 2 and the minus 10. What is the answer? 12.27. 12.27 into 10 to the power minus 12 meter. This is the de Broglie wavelength of an electron when it is accelerated through a potential difference of 10,000 volt.